inspirations, spotlighting gospel sensation. Motivation and inspiration for your eternal destination. Let's talk about it. It's a Mary W. Robinson
Show. Stay tuned for the Larry W. Robinson Show.
Celebrated media personality Larry W. Robinson presents Gospel Updates. Gospel Updates is the who, what, when, why, and where in the gospel music industry. Gospel Updates is a monthly magazine, weekly newsletter, video webcast, as well as a podcast. Gospel Updates has over 25 years of featuring people in the gospel music community. Gospel Updates magazine and the new Gospel Updates weekly newsletter document those who are continuing to help shape and write new chapters of this ever-evolving story of gospel. Go to www.gospelupdates.com. That's www.gospelupdates.com to get the latest issues. If you want to be featured, call or text 337-214-4046 or email gospelupdates@gmail.com for rates and details. Gospel Updates, featuring people in the gospel community for over 25 years.
You're listening to the Larry W. Robinson Show.
You are invited to the Black Business Honors, an award celebration designed to honor local owners and employees of Black businesses, as well as encourage an entrepreneurial spirit and networking in the Black community. Here's what others had to say.
I'm attending the Black Business Honors to show support for many of my friends who have stepped out on courage, staying true to their purpose, for network opportunities, and just to be part of positive happenings in our community.
I am attending the Black Business Honors because I look forward to connecting with and encouraging all other Black business owners. I simply want them to know that it's never too late in life to follow your dream. It's going to be an amazing experience.
For tickets, date, time, and the location, go to blackbusinesshonors.com. That's blackbusinesshonors.com.
Welcome to the broadcast. I am in the midst of royalty, and I am so excited. The Queen is with me today, and we say the Queen of Black media is with me today, the one and only Vicki Dillard. Well, let me make that right. Queen Vicki Dillard is with me, and I am honored to have her on the broadcast. Queen Vicki, thank you for saying yes to me.
My privilege. Congratulations to you and the work that you're doing. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you. So we have something. We're not going to totally give it away,
okay?
Because by the time this airs, it will already be here, and they'll be able to connect the dots. So we are interviewing you for something new and something fresh, and we are excited about it. And when I listen to your broadcast, of course, you're always talking about the grassroots, new Black media, all of that. So this is just going to be perfect and flow right in alignment with what you're already doing. So thank you for saying yes again.
My pleasure.
Now let's do it right. So Vicki Dillard has grown into one of the most popular contributors on Fly Nubian Queen platform. All you have to do is go to YouTube and type in Fly Nubian Queen. She gets like 20 and 30,000 live views per broadcast. She's known around the globe for her extraordinary and inspirational commentary. Vicki has become a leader and role model for millions. She also, I'm going to call her a life coach in a sense, a spiritual minister. We'll go with that. And she has programs and master classes that you can find out more information about. But one of them that I like is you are the conductor of your life. And we're going to kind of talk about that. But then here are some others. And I love this. You said this in a recent master class that I was in. Your altar will alter your life.
Ooh.
That's so powerful. Your altar will alter your life. And then one more, how to tap into your supernatural powers. She has many more. You can go to her website, which is onpurposewithvicky.com for more information. But I want to talk about, you are the conductor of your life. Now, Lady Vicki, many people know me from the faith-based community, but I'm also in the Black business community as well. And I noticed just in doing my own life coaching with people, they feel sometimes that God, they're waiting on God to give them permission to go be great. And so I wanted to kind of get your perspective on people they're praying, they're fasting. God has given them ideas for witty inventions and all that. They got the idea, but they're still praying and fasting and waiting on God to tap them on the shoulder and say, go be great. What are your thoughts on that?
This is so good. And thank you so much for this absolutely amazing topic, because this is so key to folks manifesting their purpose. You know, 1 Corinthians 12 talks about spiritual gifts.
Yes.
It talks about we are given these gifts of the Spirit. I use the word spirit and energy interchangeably, because when Jesus talked about in John chapter 6, he says that the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life.
Yeah.
When you check out the etymology of that word spirit in the Greek, from which it's translated from in the original, in the King James, when you do the translation from that, one of the adjectives it uses to describe the word spirit is energy. So when Jesus was saying the words that I speak unto you, they're spirit and they're life. So when we're thinking about the word energy, we're thinking about the word spirit. These are energetic gifts, spiritual gifts that we were given at birth. So when you are born with certain gifts and talents, you were, it comes built in. This means before you were even in your mother's womb, you were ordained to manifest these things. So this notion that you're quote unquote waiting on God, you said it perfectly, God is waiting on you. And I teach my students that if God doesn't move, you move God. There is a part that we have been given, and the scripture says we're what? Co-creators. So there is a level of agency, you see, that Spirit gives us as co-creators to execute over our own lives, of course, in alignment, you know, with divine righteous motives and stuff. But this is a part of our co-creative experience. So when you're in a laboratory, right, if you're a scientist, for example, you're experimenting with these gifts. And so I want to disabuse our people of this notion that it's going to be, you need to have an angelic choir that comes to give you the word of the Lord. You need to have a special dream, you know, a vision, because in fact, sometimes those powerful encounters come after you bust a move, you see? And this notion of the conductor, which is one of my courses, and I've been teaching this for many years before I even brought it to my mastermind students. And why I started that, I was fascinated, brother Larry, with I was watching a conductor in an orchestra. And to be honest, it reminded me of my grandfather, because growing up in New Prospect Missionary Baptist Church, Meridian, Mississippi, my family was involved in every area of the church. And so my grandfather played the piano.
Oh, okay.
But certain times during the year, he would conduct a cantata.
Yeah.
Yes. So the average church perhaps didn't do cantatas, to where my father really operated as a conductor. So with the baton in hand, and he would with his other hand do this, and I would wonder, what is granddaddy doing? And what is the sopranos and altos singing operatic? This ain't our regular gospel, you know, thing, but it was a special annual thing he would do. I was fascinated with the movements of a conductor, because I thought they don't have an instrument. I thought they just got a stick in their hands, and with movements, they are instructing and guiding folks that already have music in front of them. They have the sheet music in front of them. So why do they need the conductor? I did some research, and I came across a fascinating article where scientists did an experiment, and guess what they found?
Tell me.
They wanted to know whether or not it mattered if the conductor if it mattered in terms of the quality of the music if there was no conductor. They did not tell the conductor and they did not tell the musicians that they attached lights and some other scientific devices onto the baton and some of their instruments. And so they did the study and found out that even though the conductor didn't have an instrument, it mattered the direction and the guidance of it. And when they were done with the study, they found that his movements made a beautiful pattern with lights. And it mattered the quality of the sound when there was a conductor. So likewise, you've heard other stories of folks saying that your word is your wand.
Mm-hmm.
Notice that they even use a type of baton. What you speak, death and life, is in the power of the tongue. Yes. James says that through your mouth, what you guide your life. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to see the entire world as our orchestra.
Yeah.
And as we set our divine intentions through words, through journaling, or whatever our spiritual routine is, we're actually giving guidance for this beautiful symphony that can be manifested in our own lives, that we have a level of authority and control that we've been given by divine right to guide our lives. And in fact, I'm gonna say this and I'll be done. There's a scripture that I love so much, and it says, the eyes of the Lord
Going to and fro, yeah.
His eyes go to and fro looking for what? Someone he can show himself strong
on behalf of, yeah.
Then there's another scripture that says that those that know their God shall be strong and do great exploits. When I looked at that scripture and looked up the original, guess what it means? Those that take risks.
Wow.
He will do exploits in your life. Those that know their God will take risks. Do you understand? So this is a wonderful life that we've been given, and it requires a level of faith, which means that there's a level of what? The unknown.
Yeah.
In some instances, I may not know how. All I need to know is just that.
Mm-hmm.
All I need to know is that he's going to meet me. When I take a step, Spirit is going to take a step. Yes. So this is what this notion of the conductor is that even though it does not show a physical connection with the conductor guiding those that are playing the violin, the viola, the bass, the drums, and other instruments, it has an effect, those invisible movements, and scientists even prove it. So I want folks to know that even though you may not see your connection, you may not see the direct attachment of your prayers, your divine intentions, your meditations, your divine journaling, and all this kind of stuff, but there is a connection in the spirit, and it's guiding stuff in your life.
Wow. You know, you said something when you first was giving your illustration about you brought it to divine risk, but sometimes it's just moving in the direction of your dreams. Even for my magazine, I do some of the graphics. And oftentimes I start with a blank canvas.
Come on.
And I don't get inspiration until I sit myself down in the chair.
Come on.
And just start.
Come on.
Once I start creating and designing, magic happens.
Come on.
But oftentimes, that's why I wanted to talk about, oftentimes people are sitting there really waiting on God to do something, but no, God is wanting you to sit down in the chair and get started. So how important is it, or why is it so important for people to just, and I don't want to say quit praying, but at some point you got to get up off your knees and start walking in the direction. He told Abram, go to a land that I will show you. How important is it just to get up and start walking in the direction of your dreams?
I teach my students that prayer is preparation, and preparation is prayer. There is a time where you embody the prayer. You become the walking, moving, breathing prayer. That is to say, once your intentions have been set, right, you act like the prayer is answered. Believe you receive when you pray. Yes? So what do you do when you send an invitation to someone to come to dinner? Do you start getting the food ready? Do you get your home together? Do you get your outfit and all that stuff together? If you have sent an invitation to someone for a beautiful dinner that you're going to have, you start the preparation because you've already done what? You've sent the invitation out. You've extended the invitation. So now you go about the business of acting like, preparing as if it's already happened. That's our job. This is so important because we've got to remember that principle. Believe, you receive when you pray. Then you go about acting like it's a reality by preparing, and your preparation is actually the prayer, and your prayer is preparation. There are some things, it's a spiritual law. It is a spiritual law that there are some things that you make the move first because there's already a spiritual gift, a spirit gift, a divine gift in you. You just got to activate it. What does the scripture say? Stir up the gift, not spirit coming down out of heaven, not an angel coming down. You stir up the gift that's in you. And then there's another principle, and I hope they can see the connection to where I'm going here. Ephesians 3. It says, now unto him who is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that you can ask or think.
According to what? The power.
What is it? What?
I feel like, look, I feel like you when you do your gavel.
You got the bell. Come on now.
Yeah.
We love that scripture that says, oh, he gonna do exceeding abundantly above all that I can ask or think. But it's what? In proportion, according to what? The power that's what? At work in you. Yes. So heaven is telling you right there, you are the one that's got to bust a move. Yes. Do something in the natural, and I'll add what? The supernatural. Do something physical, and I'll do what? Add the metaphysical to it. I'm going to exceed abundantly above all that you can ask or think, according to the what? Power that's at work within you. That's a spiritual law.
Yeah, absolutely.
Believe that it works the other way.
You know what? I just want to add something. You said something about the invitation. When you send out an invitation, oftentimes on that invitation, it has a RSVP. And so you're waiting for the person to come back and say yes. And then once they come back and say yes, then you start, doing whatever you're doing. Well, as you were saying that, I heard Spirit say he's already given you a yes.
Yes, come on now.
He's already RSVP to your dreams.
Come on
All
now.
you have to do is start walking in the direction of your dream and make preparations. And as you make preparation, I love how God does this.
Come on.
He will provide the resources.
Come on.
And everything that you need once you have the faith enough to walk in the direction of your dream.
The same with the children of Israel.
Yes.
When they were released, he did not give them every a bit of insight for every single step, right? They were facing what? A Red Sea. And it was only in that moment, watch the conductor. Watch the conductor. Watch the conductor. What did Moses do? He lifted up his what? His rod, didn't he? His baton, right?
Right.
Sick. You see? Like a come on now, like a conductor. And he pointed it toward the Red Sea.
Yes.
And out of nowhere, see, they had already taken the step. When they had already received the word that it was time for deliverance, they were going to leave, they were going to plunder the Egyptians. You're going to go to a wonderful land so that you can worship me. After that, we're going to be talking about entering into the promised land and stuff. What did they do? They started to face an obstacle, right? The Red Sea, and then they start complaining. Some of them didn't.
Ain't that something?
You should have left me in bondage. Slavery would have been better. Did you bring us out here to die? No, the plan of God wasn't obvious in that moment, was it?
Right.
But what happened? A way was made. And what did he do? Why didn't God just split open the Red Sea? He utilized what? Moses. He had to lift up his what? His baton, just like a conductor. And guess what? The orchestra of the Red Sea started to play beautiful music and made a way for them to walk across. We see this example time and time and time and time again. And so we just need to move out, because when we're reading scripture, I'm gonna say this. I teach my students all the time that when we're reading about David, we're not reading about David, we're reading about us. We're reading about the disciples. We're not reading about the disciples. We're reading about us. Who's a giant in your life? And I'm reading about Esther. I'm not reading about Esther. I'm reading about myself. These are our mentors, you see? And we're supposed to look at the principles that they live by and activate those things in our own lives so that for us, the word becomes flesh. So that for us, we can take the word off the page and put it on the stage of our lives.
That's awesome. You know what? I want to just talk about some of the things that you do. Of course, I came to know Queen Vicki from watching the great Dr. Boyce Watkins.
Okay,
Channel, and then
awesome.
I heard him talking one day about you and something you said. I was like, well, who's this talking my language? So I went to find you, and then of course I was subscribed to Dr. Boyce Watkins channel, and of course he was talking about something you said on Fly Nubian Queen. Of course, wasn't originally on Fly Nubian Queen, but went over there to see. Beautiful. And you were talking about my language. Now, let me say this: I just how you gave the metaphysical meaning of some of the scriptures. I love how you give a deeper and, in a sense, a metaphysical meaning to what's happening in the news today. Now, true, I'm not a CNN and all this other watcher, because one of my mentors says it means constantly negative news. So I try not to inundate myself with a bunch of news. But what I do like is to go get your perspective on what is happening. You typically give I'll say a metaphysical meaning to what's happening in the world today. But also one of my favorite, this is from the Victionary.
Come on now.
When you say talk black to us. I love that. Talk black to us. So tell us your mission, because you're just not up there. And I know you got the gavel and I rang the bell.
Come on now.
You do what you do, but it draws people in. And listen, I heard you say today, millions of people from all classes love you. But there's a deeper reason why. And I'm not going to tell all your story. You know, you're in the belly of the beast. You've given your own testimony, and people can go search for that. But just in these last few moments, tell us why people, and especially people of color, you're so passionate about them, as well as giving them the deeper meaning of what's happening today. Because oftentimes we allow the eye or the media to just kind of guide us and to give us a perspective, and then we're going in that perspective. But there's always a inner story or inner view of the news.
Absolutely. The word media is used in scripture dealing with Esther. It was talking about one of the cities in the book of Esther, Media, Media. You can look it up. One of the things that we find is that the Bible often speaks in allegories. It speaks in code. It speaks in cryptic at times. And so just like when the Daniel was talking about what was going to happen in the end times, when he was given the interpretation of the king's dreams, he was talking about different governments that would evolve over time and how they would rule. So he referred to some of them, as does the book of Revelation, as beast. But they weren't talking about literal beasts. It was talking about the nature and the manner in which they would rule, you see? But when he called one a bear or one a lion, it was talking about some of the traits that come along with those particular animals and how this particular leader or nation, their traits would be. So we have to look more deeply into that. And so we've got to say to ourselves, in terms of the scripture, I see that we call it the gospel, right? Which means what? Good news. Good news. It's actually our news. It's guiding us prophetically in advance to let us know the time and what must be done. But there is a such thing as false prophets. And we have been trained to believe that false prophets is only somebody that's stuck in a Pentecostal church, a non-denominational church. No, sometimes these news anchors serve as the modern day false prophets. They're called broadcasting centers, broadcasting companies, because they're broadcasting, just like when somebody says someone casts a spell. This is exactly what these broadcasters are casting. They have access to the minds. And so they're reshaping our minds to see things as they truly are not. So there has to be a voice and a counterculture to expose those things in the same way that Elisha did when he called them to Mount Carmel, the false prophets, and he was calling them out and talking about who the real God was. He was calling them false prophets because he understood that they were faking the funk, right? So this is one of the things that I connect the dots with when I want folks to see these are not just news anchors, you see? These are folks that are written in scripture. When the Bible talks about mystery Babylon, why is there this mystery Babylon? When you look at the United States and the history of the United States and Europe and all that, you will see that it has its connection to the original Babylon, right? So this mystery Babylon, where's the United States in the Bible? They're styled under Mystery Babylon. That's just one of the names. So I think that's very important, because when we see the Bible as an active, energetic, animated book, It gives us more courage in our lives. We can see better. We can see the movements of spirit and the news that we're hearing because we're conscious of it. We don't let it get us down because we understand the proper context, of it. In terms of my assignment, I know I kind of went off there a bit, but in terms of my assignment, when I was a little girl, and this is the best way I can try to sum it up. When I was a little girl, not even a teenager, a sister came to our house, and she was a prophetic, spiritual person in our church. My grandmother was really a legend. My grandmother, as a scholar, really. She started one of the first libraries in the church. There were actual Bible circles that was named after her, called Corrine Evans Circle. She was really a master scholar. And so she came to our home with a word. And in the Baptist church, they don't really call you prophetesses and stuff like that. You see more of those types of things more in like the Pentecostal churches, non-denominational churches and stuff like that. But she was certainly recognized as a powerful spiritual person in the church. She was so moved, and I was a little girl. She came to our home, and I mentioned that about my grandmother, and my mother is a very strong and powerful spiritual woman. So she knew when she came to our home saying that she had a word for me. I got several siblings, okay? God led her, drew her to our home because she was supposed to share the scripture from Jeremiah chapter 1. Because of how highly spiritual my family was, this is not somebody that would come play, is what I'm trying to say with this word that was given to me as a young girl. And it was from Jeremiah chapter 1. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. As a little girl, this was the word of the Lord to me. I do not know how to speak. I'm too young. The Lord said to me, do not say I'm too young. I'm skipping. Goes on to say about what do you see? And when you skip down, it says, get ready. To ready yourself, stand up and say to them, whatever I command you. This is what he's telling Jeremiah. Do not be terrified by them, or I will terrify you before them. Watch what he says. Today I have made you. This is the word I was given as a young girl. Today I have made you a fortified city, an iron pillar, a bronze wall to stand against the whole land, against kings of Judah, its officials, its priests, and the people of the land. They will fight against you, but they will not overcome you. For I am with you to rescue you, declares the Lord. And then he tells Jeremiah somewhere in there also how he's going to tear down, throw down, rip up, but then after that, he's going to build and to plant. This is what's guided me. I knew as a young girl that a part of my assignment was to talk to nations, and that a part of my assignment was to simply be a vessel for thus saith the Lord, to inform and to inspire, particularly our people, because we have a unique assignment. But by us manifesting our unique assignment, the rest of the world will benefit. I don't hate other cultures or other people. I just know that our people have been in the long line of injustice waiting for longer than anybody else, nearly 500 years now. And so I know that we have a unique calling and assignment for such a time as this. So it is simply my job spiritually to connect that, to simply say what thus said the Lord, whether it's to the priest, the modern church, or spiritual systems, whether it says the whole land, to powerful entities and governments and so forth. And it is God to speak through me to do such thing. And at times I'm pulling up, tearing up, like he told Jeremiah, but then he said, you'll turn around and do what? Build and to plant. And just like any demolition service, when you're getting ready to build something, sometimes you've got to tear down some stuff first. Sometimes you've got to prepare the land, and sometimes it's not pretty, but it's a necessary process because you're getting ready to build something. So that's really my assignment, is to speak to nations. And I'm simply saying what thus saith the Lord in order to inform and to inspire people. And my goal, I believe overall, in all of its strangeness, is to prepare us as the new world rulers, because we're building a kingdom, this one, that will never perish or never pass away. And so this is a new thing, a new system, yes, that God is up to. And it's not going to be replete with white supremacy, with a bunch of crime. This is what I'm doing in part, along with other people that have a unique assignment, is that's what my goal is, to prepare us as the new world rulers, so that we can begin to set up a system that's based on freedom, justice, and equality for the world. So I know that's a pretty big assignment, but I believe that, like Jeremiah, when he said he was too young, and how can I don't even have to think. I let spirit speak through me. And when heaven downloads its agenda for me for the day, for that moment, what thus said the Lord, I trust that through me, I'm doing my part to ship shape the world and to ready the world for his kingdom.
I love it. And we love it. I have a feeling we're going to have a part 2 because I know you have a busy day.
Yes.
Again, thank you so very much for sharing your time with me today.
Pleasure.
I want people to go to Vicki X Dillard on Instagram, Vicki X Dillard on Instagram, and follow Queen Vicki. But then also go to her website, and it's www.onpurposewithvicki.com. And of course, her Vicki is spelled Vicki. So
That's right.
onpurposewithvicki.com. Any final thoughts and comments you'd like to leave with the kings and queens all over the world today?
I do. And that is this. We are in our finest hour. I keep saying this. Why do I say this? Vicki, why are we, among other people, dealing with so much bloodshed, so much pain? There's so much going on with our people, so much oppression. We're at the bottom of every metric. How can you say we're in our finest hour? We're outnumbered. The powers that shouldn't be, the oppressive class, they have commandeered the high places, the powerful places. They're taking over stuff. How can you say we're in our finest hour? Please keep this in mind. And I say this often. My mother has a lot of children. And one of the things I know when I listen to my mother's stories about birthing is that sometimes when you're getting ready to birth, sometimes the birthing process is what? Messy.
Yeah.
The birthing process is bloody, yes. Sometimes it's painful, yes. Sometimes it makes the mother sick, yes. Sometimes it's inconvenience, right? Yes. Sometimes it makes you spend more resources. You got to expand your home, your space. It messes up schedules, yes. But something is beautiful. Something beautiful is on the horizon.
Yeah.
If you didn't know the process of birthing, when you're hearing a woman scream, you would think, what? She's being abused, right? But she's actually giving birth. That's what I want us to see. That's what I want us to keep in mind with the difficulty. We're birthing a new nation. And it's also written that even creation is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. It says that they're groaning. Yes, they're waiting for the what? Manifestation of the what? Sons of God to do what? Be revealed in the earth. So they're waiting for us to what? Finally wake up to our divine inheritance so that even the earth, even creation would assist us in this new world that is certainly ours.
I feel like said the doors of the church are open.
Come on now. That's exactly right. Yeah.
I love
it.
Well, again, thank you for accepting my invitation. Do me a favor, go to onpurposewithvicki.com for more information about her master classes and upcoming trainings. We got to do a part 2 because we have some stuff we didn't even talk about.
I can't wait.
We're going to do it again.
I'm ready. Yes.
But follow her on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard.
You got it.
X Dillard on Instagram. Again, Queen Vicki, thank you so very much for being on the broadcast today.
Thank you so much. It's my privilege. I appreciate the invitation.
Bless you.
You are invited to the Black Business Honors, an award celebration designed to honor local owners and employees of Black businesses, as well as encourage an entrepreneurial spirit and networking in the Black community. Here's what others had to say.
I'm attending the Black Business Honors to show support for many of my friends who have stepped out on courage, staying true to their purpose, for network opportunities, and just to be part of positive happenings in our community.
I am attending the Black Business Honors because I look forward to connecting with and encouraging all other Black business owners. I simply want them to know that it's never too late in life to follow your dream. It's going to be an amazing experience.
For tickets, date, time, and the location, go to blackbusinesshonors.com. That's blackbusinesshonors.com.
Stay tuned for the Larry W. Robinson Show.
Celebrated media personality Larry W. Robinson presents Gospel Updates. Gospel Updates is the who, what, when, why, and where in the gospel music industry. Gospel Updates is a monthly magazine, weekly newsletter, video webcast, as well as a podcast. Gospel Updates has over 25 years of featuring people in the gospel music community. Gospel Updates magazine and the new Gospel Updates weekly newsletter document those who are continuing to help shape and write new chapters of this ever-evolving story of gospel. Go to www.gospelupdates.com. That's www.gospelupdates.com to get the latest issues. If you want to be featured, call or text 337-214-4046 or email gospelupdates@gmail.com for rates and details. Gospel Updates, featuring people in the gospel community for over 25 years.
You're listening to The Larry W. Robinson Show.
Robinson Show. Filled with talk and inspirations, spotlighting gospel sensation. Robinson Show. Motivation and inspiration for your eternal destination. Robinson Show.